Anurag, I go mental. You know this because there's not enough discussion of the chip. I was thrilled that Apple actually laid out the A18 Pro 3 nanometer chip.
Wow.
How spectacular is that 6-core beast?
Yeah, the fun thing over there is, and I didn't know till several years ago, they really do this in-house. And that's really spectacular because they designed the chip, get TSMC to make it, and really help their products. I'll tell you something. Last week I was at my sister's place, looked at her laptop. It was so hot, and that's what the Windows laptop. You take that with a Mac, you're never going to feel that, and a lot of that is driven by their chip and the way they innovate around that area.
All right, so let's put into context yesterday, Anurag. What is it? The launch of some of these products here, the iPhone 16, which I'll be upgrading to here in the coming days. What does it mean for the company? What does it mean for the stock?
So if you look at it over the last 3 years, we have not seen any improvement in unit shipments sold per year. Some of that you could blame it on economic weakness in China. Some of them you could say that the hardware has not been upgraded. And frankly speaking, yesterday the hardware upgrade wasn't there in terms of the shape of the phone or any of the noticeable features. But still at the same time, if you go back in the time frame of what you're saying, FY21 and around that area, they did sell a lot of phones. And that cohort is going to go out and refresh right now. So we think should get about a 5% bump in unit shipments. And the other factor is people are skewing towards the higher end model, which is the Pro and the Pro Max, as Tom was talking about the chip, which means that the revenue impact is more than 5%, which we think could be, somewhere in the range of 7, 8, 9%.
I just noticed this. Everybody, publishing yesterday, maybe Dan Ives went to $300.
Did he?
I think he was at 285.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm making this up, folks.
Right.
We do that on surveillance.
Well, I can tell you.
I see a $300 statistic on Dan Ives.
Well, that's the number. It's on the Bloomberg Terminal. That's the number. So, Anurag, is AI, talk to us about where Apple is with AI. Do they feel like they're there? Is this the first step? Where are we with Apple and AI?
So, in our view, Apple controls probably one of the most important and most lucrative distribution system in the world. And for them, they really don't need to go out and spend billions of dollars in CapEx to capitalize on this thing. Oracle reported yesterday, they said they're going to double their CapEx. Microsoft is going to spend 15, 20, 25 billion extra than they did last year. Apple's case, none of that stuff. They have the phone in your hand. They're saying, you want to use OpenAI, you use OpenAI. I won't be surprised if they actually license Google's Gemini also in down the road. So for the user, you won't know what's happening in the back end. You're going to get some cool features on your phone, which is going to customize your phone very different than what it is for me or Tom. And I think that's really Apple's AI play.
Are they with the sales deals they have with T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and all, and I assume internationally, are they taking gross market share from Samsung, Huawei, and the other players?
They don't really believe in that game, Tom, and I don't think that's that's the game they play. They want to basically say, you come to us when you're ready and you can afford this phone. So they're not going after the lower end Android. But if you're a higher end Samsung customer, it's very unlikely you're going to choose Apple anyway. When we ran our survey, they have a very high customer loyalty rate in the 90s, whereas the Android phones is somewhere in the 80s. So people, when they get, I would say, a little bit richer, they migrate from Android to iOS, and very few people go the other way around.
Talk to us about what's the latest in China here. I mean, are they in a position where they can maybe start growing again in China, Anurag?
I think that's the biggest uncertainty over the next 12 months. I think where the bulls are going to get it wrong next year, if China starts to deteriorate in terms of economic conditions. They're already not so good. But I think this is for my expectations of 5% unit shipments. The way that can go wrong is if China goes downwards. The big upgrade, and again, we got to thank Mark Gurman for all the stuff that he did. Everything Apple announced yesterday, he had already talked about it. There was not one surprise in our view. iPhone 17 is going to be a game changer compared to the hardware. At that time, over the next 12 months, you're going to see.
Anurag, we got to stop the show worldwide there. Are you telling Paul Sweeney to wait for the iPhone 17?
No, his phone can't handle it. He has to get the 16. It's more of a...
He knows. So I mean, but what is the iPhone 17? What is that going to do you think?
Oh, that's going to be a thinner model, completely changed in terms of the look of it. And by that time, a lot of the AI applications that we are talking about right now, which is in, you could say, the beta mode or people haven't really created those applications, that would be widely accessible. So it's going to be a staggered launch of a lot of these AI features. These AI features are not going to be available in EU at this point. They're not going to be available in China, but over the next 12 months, it will show up slowly and slowly. So we think that super cycle everybody is talking about, that's going to come for the next phase of the phone, not the one that was released yesterday.
You can't see this on radio, folks. Lucky you, but Anurag's got the AirPod thing stuck out of his ear as well. Did they make a jump condition yesterday, Anurag, in the AirPod things?
Yeah, I think the concept that it's going to help people hear better is just phenomenal. But to be honest, there's one particular gadget I don't have. I've stayed away from it, and that's the Apple Watch. But I'm going to order one, the Ultra one, on Friday because that was beautiful. That certainly changed my view of the wearable device. I think that's good.
We'll let you go so you can go to the Apple store and empty the checkbook. Anurag Rana, thank you so much.